Hello and welcome to this edition of the Screencast. What I'm doing today is I am showing you how to install Python and Rupal in the Windows environment. If you have a Macintosh computer, then you need to watch the Macintosh version of this for instructions on how to install in that operating system. If you won't be using home computers, you're just going to use the school computers in the lab, then you don't need to do this because we've pre-installed both of these packages for you so that you don't have to deal with it. So really this is a three-step process. The first step is to install Python. So I'm going to pull up my little browser and I am going to go to www.python.org. Python.org. And when I get to python.org, I am going to come down here under download and click on the download link so that I can download it. We use Python 2 instead of Python 3. Python 2 is a little bit of an older package, but it is what most of the businesses use. So what we're going to do is we are going to go to the Python 2.75 Windows installer. Normally we don't use the 64-bit version because we're having some problems with the 64-bit version, and the 32-bit version seems to be a little bit more reliable. So I'm going to click here on Python 2.75 and it's going to start downloading it. It looks like it's going to take about 30 seconds on this computer to get downloaded. So Python is a programming language. It instructs the computer what to do. Programming languages are like a 3-year-old. It's a very obedient 3-year-old. You tell the 3-year-old what to do and it will obey it uncompromisingly. I don't know many 3-year-olds that are really that obedient, but really I like to think of it as a 3-year-old because it only knows about 10 or 15 different commands. We use those 10 or 15 different commands to create a vocabulary that contains other words that we like to use. So it looks like Python is now downloaded. I will click on Python and run the installation. And I'm going to install Python for all users. And I'll put it in the default folder, Python 2.7. And I will just go ahead and go on with this. And it is now installing Python 2.7. At least I think it's going to start installing Python 2.7. Guess we need to learn to be patient. Here it goes. It's now installing Python. After we get Python installed, what we'll do is we'll check to make sure that Python got installed correctly. So I'm waiting here for it to finish the installation. It's copying all the files and getting everything set up for us. We're just waiting at this point for it to get all installed. Then we can check to see if it's working. As I said earlier, Python is a computer programming language. It's like a 3-year-old in that it doesn't have a very big vocabulary, but it's a very obedient 3-year-old. I don't know many 3-year-olds that are very obedient, but I like the simile because Python really doesn't have a lot of vocabulary or a lot of words that it knows how to deal with. So as computer programmers, what we do is we use the words that Python knows about to create other words so that we can continue to grow the language and make Python work for us. So it looks like it has finished installing Python. So now at this point what we need to do is we need to see if Python is going to work. So I'm coming over here to my Start menu And then I am going to go to All Programs. And then I am going to come down here, see if I can find Python 2.7. And I'm going to run idle. A graphical user interface for a programming language is called an IDE. So the Python IDE is called idle. So I'm going to click on idle, and it will come up and show you a Python shell. So at this point, I can tell it to print what 3 times 4 is. And hopefully we get the answer 12. So if you get the answer 12, that means that Python is installed correctly and everything's working in Python. So let's close the Python shell. And then we will go ahead and the next thing we need to install is a helper library. It contains a bunch of functions that RuPel is going to need. So what we need is we need to search for a package called WXPython. So I'm just going to search for WXPython, and there it is. It's at www.wxpython.org. That's www.wxpython.org. I will go down here to the stable release of WXPython for Windows. And it looks like this one here is version 2.8 for Windows 32. Checking just to make sure that we have the right one. It looks like this one is the 32-bit Python 2.7. That's what we really want. So let's go ahead with the ANSI version of Python. And it's telling me that my download has started down here. And I'm waiting for that to finish downloading. It looks like it has about 30 seconds left. So WXPython is a helper library. As I was mentioning, Python basically comes fairly dumb. It doesn't know a lot of words. WXPython is a library that adds more vocabulary words to it so that Python can understand more things. RuPel is a very graphical programming environment, so we need some more graphical commands. And that's what WXPython does, is it will make it so that the graphical commands will work for RuPel. RuPel requires that you install WXPython first. Looks like it has just finished. And we are waiting for it to clean itself up. And I am going to go ahead and I'm going to install this by clicking on the little link here. And here's WXPython. I'll accept the license agreement and continue on. And continue on with just the default things. I didn't change anything. I just accepted all the default parameters. And it's extracting and putting those all in Python. Okay, and basically we'll just we'll let it just do all the default things there. We'll finish, and it's going to compile everything for us so that it is faster as we are running things. Looks like it's finishing all that up. It's giving me the WXPython instruction sheet. So that looks like I have installed WXPython. The next thing that we need to install is RuPel. So I'm going to come here and I am going to search the internet for RuPel. It looks like purple except with an R. So it's RURPLE instead of purple. And there it is right there. So I'm going to click on there. And the next thing that I need to do is download and install this. So I'm going to the download page right here, clicking on the download page. And what we need to do is install the latest version of RuPel. It looks like RuPel version 1, release candidate 3. So let's install that one. That's the latest version of it. And we need to get it installed and coming down. So it looks like we have the thing right here. Whoops, let's see. I think I want to go back. And Windows Setup for Rupal. So let's do the whole exe file instead of the zip file because it'll probably be easier to install it from the exe file. So I'm going to click there and install it. And it's going to start downloading it starting now. And here it comes. Looks like it's going to take roughly 10 seconds on my computer. We're down to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and it's here. Now what we need to do is we need to install it. So I'm going to double click on this Windows Setup. And I want it in English. And we will continue on. Accept the license agreement and continue on. And it's Rupal. And do I want to create a quick launch icon and a desktop icon? If you do, then it puts a Rupal icon down here on the launch, on the start bar, and it also puts one up on the desktop. So if you want that, since you'll be playing with it quite a bit, you'll probably want to put that on there. So we will go ahead and install it. And we will finish up, and it launches it. So here is Rupal. Let's just make sure that we have all the different parts of Rupal. Looks like it is all ready to go. So the next screencast will give us a brief overview of what to do in Rupal. So this concludes this screencast on how to get everything installed. Looks like I currently have everything installed. There's the Rupal icon. What I'll probably want to do is I want to take that icon and put it here on my bar so that I have it quickly accessible. I might also want to bring up Python. Here is the idle thing right here. And I want to put that on my desktop. So right here, I'm going to go to All Programs, Python, and I'm going to click on Idle, right-click on it, and put that in my taskbar down here, so that if I want to get into Python, I can click on Python, get to Python, and if I want to get to Rupal, I can click Rupal and get into Rupal. And that prepares my computer for use for computer science or CS 1400. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you later. Bye.